Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about the Leatherman Rebar. This is a small, practical EDC type of multi-tool that's packed full of features and different tools that can be pretty useful for the daily EDC carry, for work and or emergency situations. It's one of the newer types of tools that Leatherman has released in the past few years. It's been out on the market for the past few years as well, so it's not the most newest tool, but it does take a lot of from the SuperTool 300 line and platform and condenses it down into an EDC pocket size multi-tool. Now the price is also comparable in terms of being an economic option compared to the, say, Leatherman WAVE or the Leatherman Charge or the Leatherman P4, free P4 if you will. So this is a great alternative to someone who's getting into multi-tools and is quite new to it, or maybe has not enough experience with it. I think it's a fantastic entry-level option for multi-tool use, and it does have a good enough tool set to it that it can be used as a daily EDC tool in work and EDC carrying. Here on the table we have the Leatherman Rebar, and we're going to go ahead and pull out the Leatherman WAVE for comparison, and also the SuperTool 300 just to give you a size comparison here of the different models and lengths. As we can see, the SuperTool 300 is a little bit longer and heavier and chunkier than the Rebar, and the Leatherman WAVE is almost the same size, although it's slightly bigger with the included aftermarket, or rather included Leatherman carrying clip. Let's go over the tool set of the Rebar here. We can see on the outside we have stamped into the metal, and we have measurements for centimeters and measurements for inches on two different sides here, which is incredibly useful. We have these spring releases here for the locking tools, and if we open it up we can look at the tool head here, and this we have a needle nose section here at the top, we have a regular plier section in the middle, and we have the 154 cm replaceable wire cutters here. And I don't remember if this does have a wire crimper in the bottom. It doesn't have a wire stripper in the bottom, but however, usually they put a wire crimper in the back portion here. Let's start on this side of the tool. For the different tools, we have the 420HC stainless steel blade. Now this is a not very used model, as this is one of my backup tools in my EDC bag, so it's pretty fairly clean and sharp. The edge is pretty good here, and it's a decent sized blade for the multi-tool. Now let's go ahead and open up the other tools here. We have a slotted screwdriver here, and we can double this as a small pry bar for light duty use. Next up is the awl, which we can see here has a sewing eyelet here. And then next to that we have the longer slotted screwdriver here. And then next to that, which is kind of hard to get out individually, it usually comes out with the next tool, but this is our small keyring lanyard here on the tool. And then that other tool that comes out with it, that is our file here, a 3-sided file / metal saw. One side has single hatching, the other side has cross hatching, and on the bottom we have our metal saw here. Moving over to the other side, we have the sheep's foot locking blade here, serrated blade, and this has a drawer cut edge as well. Very useful, very sharp for a lot of EDC tasks. Next to it we have the combo tool, and this is a bottle cap lifter, can opener, and V-notch wire stripper. Next to it is our 3D Phillips head screwdriver with a pretty thick shank and long truss here, and it is also very angular and square. So this is very important as it works with another type of accessory that Leatherman has for an adapter set. The adapter set is a smaller adapter that allows us to use Leatherman's proprietary bits or 1/4 inch bits, and we'll go over that later on. Finally, and last but not least, is the saw here. It's a pretty decent saw, a little bit small, but nonetheless a decent saw to use for the rebar and a welcome inclusion for my particular needs out in the trails. And that's all the tool sets on the rebar. Let's go back to the 3D screwdriver here for a moment and show the adapter set that Leatherman sells that you can buy. Now, this adapter set works on several different types of models that include or have this type of Phillips head screwdriver, and it mates with it on this side here and fits in pretty perfectly. You can shake it, doesn't come off, so it maintains a good locking position on there. And they do include a small little bit kit with that adapter. You can buy other bit kits for the Leathermans, and they can go in here like this, and you can use these bits as a modular piece of kit for the rebar, expanding the usefulness of the rebar tenfold. Now you can use aftermarket 1/4" bits with this type of adapter here, which is fantastic and an excellent idea to implement with the Leatherman Rebar. Let's go over a comparison of the plier heads for the SuperTool 300 and the Leatherman WAVE here. I'm going to note some of the differences between the two. So they all have 154 cm replaceable wire cutters. As you can see, the SuperTool on the left here, 300 model, has these beefier type of plier heads, a little bit thicker, a little bit more reinforced. In the middle we have the Rebar here, and on the right we can see the Leatherman WAVE Plus 3rd generation, which has a more smoother type of plier head and slightly smaller needle nose. If we look at the sides on the Rebar versus the sides on the WAVE Plus, we can see that they're more angular and slightly more beefier, as well as the metal capacity in the tips as well. As a note of comparison to the WAVE, for those who might be interested in buying either or, the WAVE can add on a pocket clip, whereas the Rebar cannot. And the WAVE does include a pair of scissors and a diamond coated file, which the Rebar does not have. And it also includes a bit adapter in with its tool set, meaning it can use those 2D bits over there, the proprietary ones, with the bit adapter here. You can also buy a aftermarket or another bit adapter that can use 1/4" bits with this type of adapter on the WAVE. So there is different types of modular abilities for each multi-tool. But however, the Rebar is a good, small, compact multi-tool. I've been using this one in a kit here, which I'll show you. This is my Vanquest FTIm 6x9 Generation 2 EDC pack, which I talk about a lot on my channel. And my Rebar sits right in the center there in that little webbing. I do carry a secondary cutting tool, and that is the Victorinox Microlite Esquire. And the reason why I carry that Esquire is that it does have a pair of tweezers with it, and also a good pair of scissors that complement the Leatherman Rebar, and that's important to me. So some of the pros on this is that it's very small. It's much less costly than the Leatherman WAVE Plus, for example, and the SuperTool 300. It's got a nice form factor, and it's very sleek looking. It's a nice looking design, very practical and very robust despite the size of it and the size of the tools inside of it. It's still a very sturdy multi-tool, and it is also pretty easy to EDC around if you take the small keyring lanyard and put a keyring through it, and you can use one of these little strap things to attach it to your belt and hang it in your pocket. This is one of my more popular ways of carrying my Victorinoxes, but you can also do that with the Leathermans, which is quite useful. Some of the cons on the Leatherman Rebar is that it doesn't include a place to mount a pocket clip on it, and it doesn't include scissors. So if you use scissors quite a lot, you're not going to be too happy with the Rebar. And also, despite its size, holding it and bearing down on the handles might get a few hot spots on it, whereas the SuperTool 300 has enough material to grab onto that I don't feel too much hot spots. Now I have small hands, so maybe it might change with your hand size, but that is something to consider with these multi-tools, is that they're compromised in some way, shape, or form. Overall though, I think the Leatherman Rebar is a good beginner multi-tool because it offers a good set of tools that someone might actually use in an EDC setting or work setting, and that it can be a good size to carry around town, and you can also carry it in certain different ways, even though it doesn't have a pocket clip. Overall, I'm fairly impressed with the Rebar. It serves as my primary tool for the case that I have there, even though I don't use this one as much as I do the other tools. It's still good to have it on me as a peace of mind, and I do recommend it to somebody else who's looking into multi-tools, who doesn't necessarily need a pocket clip and or a pair of scissors. That's all I have to say about the Leatherman Rebar. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your day.